Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, and in this RedGamingTech.com video, I've managed to grab an interview with TeamKill, who are responsible for the upcoming PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 title, Quantum Error. Unfortunately, given the current world situation that's going around, because I'm getting some of these questions answered by a couple of people on the team, we figured it was just easier to do this via email, and so I'm going to read out their answers verbatim. You can also find a link to the written version of this in the video description. But with that said, let's start out, and thanks of course very much to TeamKill for agreeing to the interview. Question. TeamKill, being founded by 4 brothers, must make for an interesting dynamic during the game design process, as each of you would have different artistic influences. How do you think this comes out during gameplay design processes? The answer was, oh yes, during development of both Kings of Lorne and now Quantum Error, we have thrown lots of discussions / arguments of what works and doesn't work, and throwing ideas backwards and forth. All 4 of us have our own unique preferences. For example, Mika and I, who is Noah, are big-time fans of the first-person shooters, games like Doom, Battlefield, Bioshock, COD, Turok, and of course GoldenEye on the N64, who doesn't love GoldenEye. And Josiah and Dakota love RPGs, games like Elder Scrolls, Souls games, Dragonborns, Final Fantasy VII, and more. All 4 of us come together, and brainstorming, we believe, has and is always going to lead to unique game experiences that you pretty much won't find anywhere else. Next question. Your team is hard at work with your next title, Quantum Error, which you're billing as a cosmic horror with strong story, lasting about 15 to 20 hours, I believe. I am getting slight Bioshock and Fear vibes from the trailer. Answer. Yeah, I can definitely see you getting the Fear vibes. Quantum Error is going to be quite literally a very dark game. And you might find that some parts of the facility that still have power, and then you find other parts which are completely in pitch darkness. Trying to navigate these parts as your only source of light is on your helmet, yeah, we're aiming for around 15 hours of gameplay. Quantum Error's story is heavily influenced by Bloodborne. Question. How did the concept come about internally for the game, and what were you trying to accomplish in terms of gameplay and narratively with the project? Answer. Well, it's actually kind of funny. The original idea was to be a very small project, like a 1-2 hour game. You were going to play as a firefighter who goes into a multi-floor parking garage to save people while a hurricane is flooding everything. But things would take a dark turn when monsters would also try to eat you. That was the first idea, but after we talked about it some more, it turned into a much larger project. It was moved further into the future and a much more cosmic horror theme. The gameplay is going to be slower paced shooter. Ammo is scarce, so you are not going to be some super soldier who is able to shoot up everything. You're gonna have to be careful with how you use the ammo. I then ask, the trailer seems to imply that it's some type of rescue mission rather than some military mission. Rather than the typical special forces Rambo, is the response, you are a firefighter from a fictional fire department out of San Francisco to an offshore research facility that has been attacked by an unknown enemy. You go in to save the lives of the employees of this facility, but things are much worse than thought, and the plot plunges you into an extreme situation beyond what the main character would normally be capable of. Question. How would you characterize the gameplay of the game from a horror perspective? Would you say it's the stylings of more earlier Silent Hill, Resident Evil games, i.e. tense atmospheric with emphasis on resource management, or later Resident Evil games such as RE5, which yes, does have horror elements but is more action focused? Answer. If I had to say what is similar to Quantum Error, I would say it's the gameplay of Doom 3 mixed with the atmosphere of Resident Evil 2 Remake and Dead Space. Being huge fans of Dead Space, it's only natural that we are drawing inspiration from it. I also think that it's the perfect blend of horror and action when it comes to the creepy side of things, as we go for pure atmosphere and no cheap scares. But at the same time, the FPS will primarily be part of the gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, I ask, will it be level approached or will it be more of an open world environment where you can explore, unravel the experiences slowly as you gain new abilities, key items, / the story naturally unfolds? Quantum Error is not open world, it will be story driven. Level-based experience, but the levels will be quite big, but you will be able to explore the level anytime you want while you are there. Given, of course, you have the appropriate items to go where you want to go. Finding key items and different goals and puzzle-like mechanics will be important throughout, and of course, boss fights. Question. The game is advertised to be on both the PlayStation 4 as well as 5. How has the development been targeting both generations of hardware, particularly given the disparity of CPU performance and I/O, the SSD for both generations? Answer. Quantum Error is fully targeting the specs of the PlayStation 5 and will not be held back by the PS4 at all. This would be unfair to our fans and to ourselves to hinder our vision of Quantum Error because of targeting a lower spec. The game is built around the PlayStation 5 and then downported to the PS4. The big difference between the two is definitely going to be the SSD, as the PS4 will definitely have to embrace a more traditional loading structure, probably with loading screens, whereas the PlayStation 5 will have instantaneous loading. Question. On Twitter, you've been pretty open about the bring-up of the project, for example sharing monster designs and environmental snippets, which is a very different approach to how a lot of teams operate. What made you decide to take this approach with fans of the game? Answer. We want to be as upfront and interactive with our fans as possible, so we can show them as much as possible without giving everything away. I believe it only helps and makes people more excited when they see the previews. It also makes everyone feel that they're along for the journey. Question. What was the reasons you were lured over to the PlayStation hardware and ecosystem, and will we see a Steam/Xbox release of Quantum Error pop up in the future? Answer. Well, now we have a title under our belt, we've learnt so much. Developing for each platform has small differences between them all. However, we found ourselves most comfortable with PlayStation and its architecture. I want to stick to the PlayStation 5 as our first choice. As for releasing on other platforms, that just depends on how things go. At the moment, we are only developing for the PS5. If we decide to release on other platforms, it will be an easy transition. Question. You've confirmed that we'll see a whole host of ray tracing effects in the title, including shadows and reflections. How is the PlayStation 5 hardware in terms of ray tracing in your eyes? And as a developer, what is hardware-based ray tracing allowing you to accomplish, particularly given the atmospheric nature of the game? Answer. We can only speak to the Unreal side of things, of those details, but I can say that ray tracing is allowing us to do pretty amazing things. Visually, Quantum Error is starting to take an almost Silent Hill modernized type of feel, and it's a thick feeling in the air and the lighting that is going to make you feel very uneasy even when no enemies are present. And it's the same for 3D audio. Sound is the most important thing in gaming after visuals, and hearing the world around you is quite the experience. On the same subject, what are you planning to do with the PlayStation 4 version of the code? And will it use more traditional effects such as shadow maps, screen space reflections, and so on? The PlayStation 4 version of Quantum Error will definitely be missing out on some of the awesome new features of the PlayStation 5, such as hardware-based ray tracing, 3D enhancements, and CPU-heavy features. SSI will definitely be the technique used on the PS4, and we'll also have to scale back some of the physics and also the resolution to just 1080p. Question. For the PlayStation 5, are the programming and development tools a familiar workflow compared to the PlayStation 4? I understand that UE4 and other engines largely have PlayStation 5 support baked in, and development environments are familiar. Answer. As far as development, it's super similar to what we're used to with Unreal Engine 4. Basically, things have become a bit more complicated, more bells, more whistles, and requires a little more attention to detail. But the new tools and techniques are exciting. Do you know how the PlayStation 5 handles upscaling, and will you be taking advantage of it? I'm assuming it's similar to the Xbox with lower precision operations. Answer. We are targeting 60 frames per second 4K. 60 was our goal from the start, and we're going to hit that no matter what, even if we have to lower the resolution and then upsample to 4K to hit 60 FPS. Then that's what we'll do. Unreal Engine 4 uses a temporal upscaling that looks amazing. If it's used, it will be mostly unnoticed. Closing statements. Answer: we are very excited and can't wait to show everyone more of Quantum Error as development continues. The new materials will show off will be truly intense. Stay tuned to our social media for updates. And that's the end of the interview. I'd like to thank Mika for handling the arranging of the interview, as well as Noah for answering the majority of the questions. I did actually ask them a couple of other tech-related things, but at the moment they just kind of answer them because Sony are being really pushy with the NDA, so obviously the team can't answer that. However, later on, when more about the PlayStation 5 is revealed, I'm sure I can get the team to answer more of the technical questions that I asked, and we can kind of get some more official information. Once again, thank you very much for watching the video. The normal stuff, if you have enjoyed it, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And of course, we will be covering a lot more interviews and technical analysis and so on in the not too distant future. There will be, in the next couple of days, some console-focused analysis, which will be going rather deep into several facets of both next-generation consoles, and also some PC stuff that I've been working on as well. But, as always, thank you very much for watching the video, and of course, give TeamKill a massive shout-out as well. Give them a follow on social media. I'm really looking forward to Quantum Error. Those type of games are amongst my favorites. I very much like atmospheric kind of horror games. Single player games in general are my kind of cup of tea anyway. So I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on the finished title. With all of that said, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.